Hi all, in this video we will try to understand the symbolism of Shravana nakshatra. So there are basically three main symbols for this nakshatra. One is a row of three uneven footsteps. So you can understand here we are mentioning three uneven footsteps, right? So the symbolism is also signifying the structure of this nakshatra also here. See, Shravana nakshatra basically consists of three bright stars, right? In the area of it's like an eagle structure kind of stars you can find. In that, the three bright stars are called, that particular set of three bright stars is called as the Shravana nakshatra. So these three bright stars are basically signified as the footsteps of Vishnu in the Vamana avatar, right? So here the three bright stars, and also the meaning, if you observe, it's a row of three uneven footsteps also, right? According to the symbolism, it's something like row of three uneven footsteps. So what is the meaning of the symbol? We'll try to understand. So this particular row of three uneven footsteps, which as we can see from the structure of this nakshatra, represented by its constituent stars, of course. So these three steps were supposed to be taken by Vishnu in one of his incarnations, the purpose of which was to establish order in the universe through the restoration of the heaven to the gods and earth to the human beings. So it's all about, so why actually Lord Vishnu took an avatar just for this three, just to do this kind of act, like the three uneven steps, right? The steps were actually taken by Vishnu in the Vamana avatar basically. So why he incarnated, right, just to take three steps, right? It's because the three steps, taking up those three steps, is actually the purpose is to establish an order. The order can be an existing order, or it can be a new order, right? So it is to establish an order. That is the fundamental thing. So when something significant is happening in the Shravana nakshatra, right, so you can clearly understand there is going to be a new order in the world. In the planetary positions also, if you observe, there is something significant that's happening in Shravana nakshatra, right? So it's going to set up a new order. It can be, so according to Lord Vishnu's steps, it's the new order set up in the heaven, or is a new order set up on the earth for human beings and all the stuff. Now, even you can observe when Saturn comes in the Shravana nakshatra, just observe the world affairs. So just observe the whole history. When Saturn is in Shravana nakshatra, something unusual happens in the political front, or so many world leaders were actually assassinated when Saturn was in Shravana, right? You just observe the history of Saturn in Shravana. So not only the political front, the whole world sees a new order. Even just in 2020, Saturn came to Shravana, right? So just observe the whole order. Of course, before that there was a 6-planet conjunction in the sign of Sagittarius during the solar eclipse day, that is 26 December 2019. Of course, that actually initiated the new order in the Sagittarius sign, and that is completely followed up by Saturn in Shravana, right? Even in 2021, Saturn was in Shravana nakshatra. So Saturn in Shravana always signifies a new order. It signifies a new order, right? So the purpose here is to set up a new order. So we will discuss this story in more detail, this Vamana avatar story, right, in other video, right? But let's try to understand. These three steps can be seen as the threefold law through which the cosmic intelligence. So this particular three steps here, right, it's kind of clearly, it is clearly showing a threefold law through which the cosmic intelligence maintains order in the universe. A threefold law, right? That is the main point here. So the universe actually maintains his functionings through the celestial energies only, according to Vedic astrology, right? So you can clearly understand this particular nature operates in three modes, and this threefold law relates to the three interactions between these modes. We'll understand better here. So the trident is the alternative symbolism of this particular nakshatra, which once again reiterates this particular nakshatra connection to the number 3. 3 is the most important thing here. So most numerologists know that 3 is the number of communication and is the energy responsible for establishing order in the universe. 3 means order. Even the Trinity, if you observe, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. So these three deities, actually these three gods, establish order in the universe, we believe, in the Vedic culture, right? 3 is very much important. So this is why all ancient cultures had 3 main deities responsible for overlooking universal affairs. The 3 symbol is very much important, right? So as a whole, you can understand the Shravana nakshatra mainly concentrate upon the order of the universe, right? That is the 3. That's why the 3 is very much important. So an ear is commonly used as symbolism for this nakshatra. Another symbolism is not only these 3 stars or 3 uneven steps or the threefold law or the number 3, it's also an ear is another symbolism, which we can see is derived directly from its name. Shravana means hearing, it's ear, right? Ear, the concept of ear is coming into picture here. The communication aspect of this particular nakshatra is therefore more focused on listening than speaking. It mainly concentrates upon listening than speaking. Listening what? It's just listening. It's a normal listening. See, think in terms of universal levels, right? So listening is the one and only way one can learn anything. To emphasize this aspect, some wise men assigned 3 ears as its symbol. So how much? It's a peak of hearing. Shravana is peak of hearing energy. So the more you hear, the more you learn, right? So in this particular, it's you can also symbolize it as a tree with full of ears. Listening happens more here. Even Buddha got enlightenment under Ashwatha nakshatra, Ashwatha Vriksha, which is a people tree, which is another meaning of Shravana, right? So it's a kind of listening in the universal level, listening in the level of universal functionings, you can understand, right? So in the ancient Indian Vedic tradition, knowledge was orally transmitted, and so the power of listening automatically became the most important quality of an individual, right? So listening was very much important those days. So it's because of these oral transmissions that Vedic knowledge is available today in its some state. At least Vedic knowledge is still available because it came down the generations because of this listening only, because of the listening energy, right? So listening, because of listening only, the knowledge is still survived, at least to an extent. So we can clearly understand that this particular nakshatra has a lot to do with preservation, in keeping with the nature of the sign it falls in, right? So this nakshatra is all about, it's also preservation in keeping with the nature of the sign it falls in. So as Shravana is in Capricorn, it's going to preserve, it tries to preserve the order, but it's going to set up a new order. So right, it will set up a new order, and that new order is going to be preserved, right? It will try to preserve that order. So just like, that's why see, so many astrologers predicted when coronavirus came in the world, and they predicted this virus would last for a long time. It may last for around 20 years or 30 years. So they predicted that way because, Saturn was in Shravana nakshatra. After that, 2019, the 6th planet conjunction, 26th December, after that, clearly Saturn came into Shravana. So Saturn is a very stable planet, it's a focused one, it's a very disciplinary planet. Discipline is the main idea, is a continuity is the main idea of Saturn, right? If Saturn gives something, it gives for preservation. It's going to last for a long time, right? So because Saturn motion is also very slow, Saturn is a slowly moving planet in the solar system, you can understand. So there's a kind of focus, concentration, discipline is always associated with the planet Saturn. And so as Saturn came into Shravana after this 6th planet conjunction which triggered the coronavirus, and then Saturn came into Shravana, so astrologers predicted the virus may last for a long time. It's a new order setup, and the new order would be preserved for a long time, right? So there's a concept of setting up a new order, setting up a new threefold law, right, and then preserving it. So the basic idea here is setting up that threefold law, new order. Setting up a new order is energy of Shravana. A lot of hearing happens here, a lot of listening happens here in the spiritual plane. So when a native has a strong Shravana influence in their horoscope, the astrologer can safely advise that person to learn to listen more to others or pay attention to one's inner voice in order to grow or progress in life. Is the main remedy. Shravana nakshatra people have to listen more, then only they can grow in their life, right? So generally they have their own concept, and they may not listen, but still it's better they listen. It's better they listen and understand. So only by listening we can grow, right? So that is the main ideology of Shravana nakshatra. Basically it is a row of 3 uneven footsteps. So these footsteps were taken up by Lord Vishnu in his incarnation, one of the incarnations. It's Vamana avatar, right? So this kind of uneven footsteps clearly showing is a threefold law. It's creation or maintenance and then destruction. There's a new creation, new maintenance, and new destruction is going to happen. Everything is going to be new. A new setup is going to be perceived, is going to be constructed, is going to be perceived in the for the people, and it's going to be set up, right, for the world. A new setup totally. When there is something significant is happening in the Shravana nakshatra, we can clearly understand something new is going to be set up. It's brand new, completely brand new. World is going to be brand new, right? So that's what happened in 2020, and see, from 2020 onwards the whole system changed. Everything is going to be very much new. You will understand this after some years, something like by 2027 or 2028, you can clearly understand, okay, the world was different before 2020 and after 2020 it is completely different. It's completely, so altogether it's different. The people are behaving differently, the world is different. You can clearly understand. Before 2020 you were a different person, and after 2020 you're completely a different person, right? So that is a setup, a 2020 setup, right? It's because of Saturn Shravana relationship. Just before that there was a solar eclipse with 6-planet conjunction, 26 December 2019, and that was the initiative, and then it is completely continued and followed up by Saturn and Shravana. That's the energy. So Shravana people have to understand that they have to listen more and more, then only they can grow. Just how Buddha got enlightenment under the people tree by listening, right? That Ashwatha, listening is listening for Buddha in terms of spiritual levels, the universal functioning level. That was a bit, much matured level, you can say. It's a higher level dimension, higher level functioning in terms of Buddha's enlightenment, right? So this is Shravana nakshatra, the 3 uneven footsteps. As a ear is the symbol, as a hearing is the symbol, listening is the symbolism, listen more is the advice. A full of ears, you can just understand. So the spiritual level of hearing, or it's completely, hearing is a kind of receiving, right? So the world is going to receive something new, is also, is the energy you can understand. Thanks for watching this video. We'll continue with other videos.